What's shaking, guys? Dante here. We are here today to chat all about the watch with this guy you're seeing popping up on my screen right now. This is Joao Miranda, the watch, and he is joining me live right now from Portugal. Here he is. What's up, Mr. Miranda? How we doing, sir?
Hi, Luke. Thanks a lot for inviting me.
And it's always good to
Hi,
see
guys.
you. Always good to see you.
Thank
and
you. Same for you.
I love the new setup you got over there. It looks great, by the way.
Yes, better than last time at least.
Well, last time we
Yes.
went raw. You were showing us around your facilities, and now you're set up in one spot. So this should be a lot of fun to talk all about your brand new release, which is funny enough. It's the latest one, but you told me before we went live here, this has been the most stressful one that you've ever done, huh?
Yes, yes. It's really very hard to make this. I'm honestly tell you. I've invented a lot of stuff, a lot of electronic things to great magicians, but this one it's very, very complex because it's our company. I think we'll show a little video of us producing it in a moment, but it's our company that places the ends on the watch, which are very small, to attach the motor to the electronic part. We need cameras really which magnify 1,000 times so that my people can see the screws.
Oh,
It's crazy. A lot. I could be with you all evening, tell you how this is made. It's very hard, really very hard.
Well, I have to say that
People,
the final result, people are loving. They've been talking about it. I've got people on the cafe, that I'm going to be looking through some comments too. A lot of the questions. Let's start off with the number one question. I think is how long have you had this in development? I know this is something that you mentioned. Been a lot of stress, but also this has been in the works for quite a while. Why don't we talk about the beginning, and then we'll get into more into specifics about it?
yes.
Yeah.
It was over 2 years. Yes. Even way before all of these watches started to appear, we started working with another motor. The first prototype that we did, it was about a year and a half ago. The watch took about 50 seconds to reach the time.
Oh wow! Okay.
50 seconds, which is a lot, and I was not happy with the result of that. So we did a lot of testings. Also, the design of the remote, because the button 0 is in a strategic place so that the magician can feel easily and press any hour in just a matter of seconds. All of this was a process. It's not something that you come up with from to the day to the night,
Yep.
And then we did a lot of testing, a lot of performances, professional performances with friends from Portugal, which do a lot of weddings, and they really took this to the field, and
Right.
the results were amazing. But it was a long journey. Very, as I told you, the hardest trick we ever produced.
Wow, that's crazy. And you've produced some really really cool stuff, and some stuff that also uses electronics in different ways. So that's very cool to
Yes.
hear. Speaking of the details, I want to make sure everyone knows. Right now, we are live with Joao. He's over in Portugal. I'm here in Las Vegas, but we're all here together now. And if you have any questions about the watch, feel free to drop them in now. Post them on below. We're here to take those, and I've got some lined up too. So if you guys want to know more about those or any of the details you want to know any about that stuff, let me know. I'll be more than happy to bring those up for Mr. Joao Miranda here. So let's start off with one thing I was curious about was the remote control that comes with this. It's a tactile feel, which is great because a lot of people, when they think of something, Joao, they think of it as a remote control, like a video game remote control you have to hold, you have to look at, or you have it in front of
Yes.
you. Because you've made this the way that you've made it, you don't even have to look at the remote to make it work, right?
Yes, no, the first one we had to look at the remote because the disposition of the buttons was different. Now it's in order, and we did something that, which just by pushing just 3 or 4 buttons, 4 buttons in this case, any hour and minute is accomplished. And the great thing about it is that due to the size, it's very easy to move your thumb in all the buttons. You feel them very easily. And there is not the mistake that could happen of pushing a button and pressing another button at the same time. It doesn't happen because of the space between the buttons, and they are protruding enough so that you can easily feel without any problem, because normally remotes are not like this. You can feel the button, but like this, it's very easy to feel.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And that's what's nice too. I know there's some performances of you doing that where you have the remote in your pocket and you're literally
Yes.
talking doing the routine, and it's very natural to just kind of have your hands, like that when you're
Yes.
sitting. So,
Yes. Yes. Yes.
and the
Yeah.
fact that you've made the buttons the way that they are, you can feel them, through your pants. Very, very easy.
Yes.
So our first question from the chat is coming in, and this will give us a chance to talk more about some of the details too. From Carlos. Carlos says, hello, Joao. What are the key features comparing with other products on the market? Now, the one thing I like about our industry is that there's a lot of different options for a lot of different tricks. You know what I mean? Like, it's also funny, isn't it, that when one thing hits the market, that it seems to be this flood of people coming to the market with the same thing. I remember back in the days, you might remember this too, when self-levitation was all the talk. There were like all these self-levitations, then it was torn or stored card. Rubik's Cube magic is kind of that. And now the watch world is kind of like the thing right now. So let's talk a little bit about some of the comparisons, or maybe some of the things that you added here that you wish were there that are now there because of the watch.
Yes, no, to be honest with you, the watch for me, it's like a dream come true. For me personally, as a professional magician in the field. Because when I wanted to create this trick, I don't want any kind of assistant, because I used to do a lot of weddings. Now I still do, but not as much, because I have a lot of work to do. But I wanted to input any hour and minute, and in less than 3 seconds. And we did it. And I'm really proud, and my team is really proud of that. And one very important thing is that the way that we transmit hours and minutes is never shown. People will never have the chance to see or to figure out how the trick works. They could see a video. I could do this trick for one person in a very cold trick, like think of an hour and a minute, and by just going to my hand in the pocket in 2 or 3 seconds, that's it. The trick is done. So that's something that was not easy to achieve, but I think that's the main goal regarding the other products. And also, in this case in particular, when the magician inputs the time on the remote sends the time every single second until the watch says, okay, I got the time. And then the watch responds with a vibration to the remote. So this is something that people probably, of course, don't know programming and electronics, but it's something very, very hard to achieve electronically. Making something as reliable as this took really a long time. And this is not possible not only with any other watch in the market, but I would say with any other electronic product in the market. Because normally what happens with another remote controls, either it's the watch or any other electronic trick, when the information is sent, if something goes wrong, if there is an interference, for example, or if anything goes wrong, the magician doesn't know.
Right.
In this case, the remote vibrates. So this, for the professionals in the field, it's a game changer, in my opinion, of course.
This was a question because we're talking about electronics. And I know in the past, you've released other things with electronics, behind the scenes. With Timeless was one of those perfect examples. Chris Ronick wants to know, what about the warranty? Is it a 2-year warranty? He's saying 2 years. What if something's going wrong after that? Is there a warranty on the watch?
Yes, the warranty is 2 years.
Okay.
But I always say this to every single customer. We take customer service very, very seriously because it's what makes a difference in any business, either it's magic or clothing or cars. So if any performer buys the watch today and in 10 years from now they have any problem, we'll solve it at really a fraction of the cost. We are not going to say to the customer, buy a new watch because 10 years have passed already. So I think that is very, very important for people to understand that when they buy from my brand, this is what they are getting. They are getting everything from us, all the support in the world. We always answer every single email, and I think it also makes the whole difference when someone is investing a lot of money, like it's in the case of a watch. It's not a cheap product.
Yeah,
I think it's very important that every customer knows that.
Perfect. All right. And I mean, you have a proven track record of doing just that, of taking care of your customers or people that have purchased your product. So kind of speaks for itself,
It's very important. Very important, yes.
Michael Bell wants to know something about the specifics when it comes to the watch and when it tells, I'm going to put quotes here, real time, and when you're going to do the trick. He says, is there a way to switch from real time to performance mode, then back to real time without having to use the magnet? Is there a way that he's not aware of, or is that the key thing? Is the magnet the key thing?
No, the magnet is the key thing. And the way you did this, it's because otherwise what will happen is that the magician will need to have the remote every single time. And the memory of the watch will work so much because we'll need to only transmit the information to the remote. So yes, you must actually pass the magnet. However, I don't think it's important on a normal performance because normally I think that the number of magicians, professional magicians who are going to use this everyday watch will be like 2%, because I think that, for example, I use my Apple Watch every day. I don't use the watch because it's different. I think people should see the watch more as a prop rather than an everyday object. But otherwise, if they really want to perform, they need some privacy. In 5 seconds or 10, they are ready to perform, and that's it.
Okay, cool. It's good to know.
Yes.
Quick question. I know this is probably in the ad copy, Joao, so forgive me if I miss this, but my buddy Nigel Quinn would like to know, are TV rights included? Is this something that they're included, or do you need to reach out to you to do that?
Yes, as in all of the magic that I sell, TV rights are included.
Right.
So in this case in particular, I prefer to know when the event is going to happen. So I said in the ad copy, please contact me 5 days before the TV recording, and that's it. But yes, it's included.
Yep. Okay, cool. Yeah, again, I'm not really surprised because, again, your customer service and everything that you do really does come down to that attention to detail. So very cool. Michael wants to know, do you use military time? Do you use military time with this?
Do they use what?
Military time.
What's that?
As far as the input goes, is it the military time that you use to input it, or is it just standard time? I guess is the question then, when it comes to input.
Yeah. I see. So we are talking, for example, 5 p.m. or 17 hours. Is that?
Yeah.
Okay. Is that's the question? Yes.
Yeah.
I think so. Okay. Because in the watch it goes from 1 to 12. There is no 1-7 as the 5 p.m.
Yep.
So you should place really 5 p.m. and not 17.
Yep. Cool. Yeah. I mean, again, we're here to try to cover every single detail that we can, and that definitely is one of those details. Ben wants to know a quick question. He wants to confirm there's not numbers on the remote, right? Like as far as the remote, if you were to see it, there are no numbers on it, but I'm sure you could add little numbers if you wanted to, right?
Yes, but I think once you see how the numbers are, because it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and a 0. You don't need nothing to memorize that. Yeah. I mean, even though we included a small reminder, which is a little paper that you can keep in your wallet, and at the back you'll see the numbers there. But it's so easy to memorize. And the thing is, it's good that the numbers are not there, because the thing is that when you are going to grab for a Sharpie or a paper, it's that where you should input the time without looking at the remote. So there is no point at all, in my opinion, to place numbers on the keypad.
Okay. Speaking of the remote, let's jump into another question that's directly about that, and that is, what's the remote range if you're using a confederate? So let's say you have an assistant off stage that's helping you. What's the general range when it comes to the remote that you have?
Yes. The range is about 6 meters. Okay. However, the magician will go further, and I will explain you why. As I mentioned before, the remote sends the time to the watch every single second. So what happens is, if you are very far, if you input the time very far and the remote does not reach the watch, no problem. As soon as you go into that line of 5 or 6 meters, you'll see the remote vibrating, you know?
Got it.
So as soon as you come into the range, the trick will work. So the distance is not a big deal in my opinion, and it works exactly like this, which again is very reassurance that the trick is very reliable, and I think it's a very cool feature.
Yeah, getting that confirmation to know for sure. I mean, as someone that's worked in TV before, as a consultant, man, when you do stuff like this, sometimes you have the fear of God in you because you don't know if what you're doing is working. And this is like, all right, you're good. You're good. This is like,
now you know.
yeah,
Yes, now you are able to.
Really, really helpful.
Yes, it's something that we are going to try to input in other electronic products. We are actually producing more electronic products as we speak, which we will launch this year. And it's something that we are making sure that now the products work all like this, you know. I think it's very important because when I used to perform a lot of stage magic, sometimes the tricks failed because I didn't know if I pressed the button, I didn't know, and now with this kind of methodology, it's very assurance that the trick really works.
Absolutely, yeah. I know the performers will definitely appreciate that for sure.
Yeah. I think so.
This is a question when it comes to the remote, and I guess more specifically with a lot of the things that you're coming up with these days, because yes, you have a lot of other material you're working on, but you've produced and continue to, like you just mentioned, magic with electronics, these new methods, these new things. Carlos wants to know, you have a lot of work for TV, so I'm sure you've thought about this. When can the remote interfere with the other electronics? Have you, either one, have you had any problems with that in the past? And if you have you found a way to fix that? Or is that something that you guys are always kind of trying to evolve and try to figure out as it comes up?
Yes, it's always very, because when there are a lot of radio waves, it could eventually interfere. So my suggestion to my clients would, some will perform on TV and etc. It's important that the frequency around the remote is not 2.5 gigahertz. It works, but it's reassuring if there are not materials in the same frequency, you know. But we tested with a lot of different situations. It always worked flawlessly. So I don't think anyone will ever have any issue with that anyway.
Yeah, I think a lot of it just comes down to, like you said, to, just be prepared. Maybe if you're getting to a TV spot, do some rehearsal, just kind of do your homework, figure it out too.
Yes.
Because that situation is not going to change. If everything's set up, you know what it is, going in.
Exactly. Yes.
Another question about the remote. This is something that I've had a couple of people ask about. So Mark Schaefer wants to know, nice to see you, Mark, if you're doing well. He wants to know, what can be done to reduce the noise of the remote? Even with talking, it's really loud. So let's get into some specifics with the remote. I believe, like you're saying, that there's a vibration to let you know that the signal has been received by the watch. So let's talk about the watch, the remote, and if there's any noise, and if there is, what you can do. Obviously, he's saying there might be a little bit of noise. What you can do to maybe help get rid of that, or maybe to help soften it a little bit.
Yes, the thing is, there are a lot of professional magicians already in the field, and they never had an issue with the remote. Some of the comments are already in the Magic Cafe, other in my forum. Nobody has any problem with the sound. Because I think that when magicians get the trick, and they are at home with the windows closed, and they are alone in the room, and when they turn the remote on, they see that buzz, and they think that this is the same situation where they will perform. But when you are in the field performing, you have people around. Unless you perform for your father or your mother, it will eventually happen. But normally magicians have a lot of people. It's not a closed room. It's different performing in a restaurant or performing in your room in complete silence. You can also hear your phone. We actually had before a weaker vibrator inside the remote. The thing is, you do not feel it.
Got it.
Okay? And the sound was the same. I mean, it was the same, really. The difference that the sound makes, it's because of the casing of the buttons. Everything vibrates. That's why it seems that it produces a little bit of more sound.
Got it.
But it's not an issue at all when you are in the field performing. Or if you want, you can talk over it. Or if you place in the pocket, it also reduces a lot the noise. So it's important that you feel the vibration. Otherwise, you will not feel it. I mean, so it's not a big deal. It may seem like it is, but it's not.
Yeah. No, I mean, I wasn't surprised that you've already, tackled that, tried that. Like you said, though, if you were to minimize the vibration, then you may not feel it, and that defeats the whole purpose of the cue. Yeah. So, yeah.
Exactly.
But, yeah. Thanks for the question, Mark. Hope that helped you out. And the rest of you guys, if you have any questions for Joao Miranda, will be here for maybe about another 20 minutes or so, if that, answering some questions about the watch. I've got something too, Joao, that you mentioned a little while ago. When I pop up on the screen here, you can kind of talk through it while it comes up here. We're going to show the video that you sent me of your team literally working on and putting together the watches, I guess. So why don't you
Yes,
talk a
yes,
little bit
yes,
about that while I cue this up for you?
yes. We had about 11 people working on the watch,
Hmm.
you know, and it was very 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 hard because of the components, as I said, the screws,
Yeah.
and as you can see, a lot of watches, and we did about 1,200 watches. It's a lot of watches
Wow.
actually, and we tested every single one before they are packed. And as you can see, there are very, very small works that need to be done in order to make one unit.
Yeah.
It takes several hours just to make one unit because of the very small components and a dial. Everything is made by us. There are other products where the watch comes ready, and not with this. Everything is made by us in house with materials from Japan, United States, from Portugal. Everything is made by us. And it makes the whole difference because we know every single step is controlled by us.
Hmm.
So if anyone ever had any issue, we know why. We receive the things and we know exactly why just by looking because everything is made by us. And it makes all difference. And to be honest with you, we could have made the watch much cheaper, but the electronics will not be as much as reliable. And when you are in the field, I think it's better to spend an extra dollars, like $100 or so, and make sure that the trick works. And that's why we prefer to use the Rolls Royce of electronics, as I call it, because it's true. Yes,
Love
we
it.
use award-winning transmitters and everything that are very hard to program. And that's it. Our hearts and souls are into this product, to be honest
Cool.
with you.
I mean, you can tell people are loving it. I just got someone popped up here, Mark Call, said, got my watches yesterday, been using today, and brilliantly simple. Thanks, Zhao. So there you go. Some love from one of your new
Thank you.
fans out there. Mark using the watch, or sounds like he got two. Lucky guy.
Nice.
Um, this is a question in from Chris Ronick again. Chris has a question. Electronics improve and change. As we know, everything changes and evolves over time. Do you think that there will be a version 2.0 in the next couple of years or so? I mean, obviously, tech is going to change. It seems to be getting smaller, more compact. Do you see, one, maybe there will be a need, and two, do you think that, one day you may end up revising the watch? I know this one just came out, so it's kind of a silly question, but the way
Yeah.
electronics are going, do you think that's even going to be something that's necessary going forward,
I'll be totally honest with you. I don't know if you could make the remote thinner or not. In this case, not because the battery inside is big, but
Yeah.
I don't want to say that the watch is the perfect product. I think it's a very bold statement.
Sure.
But in my opinion, it's near there. Because look at this. We input any time in 3 seconds or less. The input is 100% invisible. Even magicians cannot figure out if they see the trick like this performed. You see someone grab a Sharpie and it's impossible to figure out the method. Think about that.
Yeah.
The fact that the remote vibrates, alerting you that the hours changed. The fact that the remote keeps sending the information to the watch. It gives time. I mean, there is so many things combined into this product. I'm not saying it's impossible to do better, but at least for us, at this stage, it's very, very, very hard. If you give me now $20 million, I will do exactly the same product that magicians have now in their hands.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. I'll get to you. I'll Venmo you that money later. All right.
That's right. That's true.
Here's a very simple question that I know that people would love to know because I've seen it pop up a few places. The watch, you can get it, and I'm going to pop up the picture one more time here. You can get it a couple different colors, the watch faces here and the straps, but the question is, can you change the straps? You have the main component of the watch. Can you customize this with your own straps if you like?
Absolutely. In fact, Ekaterina, which just did a great review about the watch a few days ago, she changed because she preferred a different type of color. And yes, you can change it. It's super easy to change.
Perfect. All right. Nigel Quinn's back. This is a good question about the tech on it. What was the biggest challenge in designing and constructing the watch? I know you mentioned it was one of the most stressful things you've ever had to do, but was there one specific thing that was just a real pain in the ass that you just couldn't get it and it finally worked out and you just, what is it? I'd love to know too. Yeah.
Yes, two things. The first one is the transmitter. Because sending the information every second and the watch answering and responding back, to lay people, this may seem like two lines of code.
Got it.
But I can tell you that only for this, we have more than 10,000 lines of coding. Imagine this, 10,000 lines of coding just to send information to the watch send the information back to the remote. People could think, oh, 2 lines of code, just send information, it receives and sends back. No. If I showed you the programming, you'll go crazy. It's crazy, really. And the second thing is that a lot of customers of other watches that are on the market, I'm not going to specify exactly ones, when I was creating this, told me, oh, João, take a look because there is a watch in the market that sometimes fails, it's not always reliable, and we thought, yes, we know why. And they were like, you know why? Yes, we know why. Because if you have a metal lead on a watch, 100% metal lead, what happens is the well-known scientific concept, which is called the Faraday Cage. Magicians can go now to Google and search for that. When you have a metal cage, a metal casing, the radio waves cannot penetrate because the steel reflects back. Sometimes the radio waves, sometimes the radio waves can penetrate, but sometimes they cannot. And we did some testings with some metal leads over here, and it happened exactly the same in our watch. It worked 1, 2, and the third time, no, and then the fourth nothing happened because of that. And we had to figure out a way to make sure that the radio waves, of course, penetrate through the watch. Yeah. So we had to lift the lead 1 millimeter, and the radio waves penetrate through the watch. So it's something that we need to incorporate into the design. And when you look at the watch, you don't see nothing. You see all metal. And this was very hard. It may look simple when magicians get and take a look at this detail, but it makes the whole difference from a reliable product to another that is not as much as reliable as a watch. Okay. And it was very hard. These two things.
Gotcha. Well, at least you didn't give up. At least you fought through it, and here we are now.
Yes. So. It was very hard, honestly.
Speaking of something else that I'm sure wasn't the easiest thing in the world, I'm going to guess here, but was getting that battery inside of that thing to be what it is. And we have a specific question about the battery here, if you want to grab this one. It says, from Daniel Ricks, my buddy Daniel Ricks says, what is the usage time before having to recharge? He says that also can the battery be replaced simply? He's got some other things there, but so let's get to the first thing. Usage of battery time before it needs to be recharged. What about that?
Yes, the time that the watch stays on, it's for 2 weeks. Mm-hmm. So you can perform over 1,000 times or more with just one single charge, and the battery is really very small in the watch. Mm-hmm. And once again, this is because we use the award-winning low transmitter that we used, which is one of the hardest ones to program in the world. That's why it makes some magic. That's why, because the initial ones that we had, 2 hours later the battery was dead. Got it. So we had to come out with a different way to make it work. I don't know if this answers his question or...
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, it was more about, how long before it needs to be charged. And just so people do know, this is a USB rechargeable thing, right? So you just plug the little thing in and it just recharges by itself, right?
Absolutely. Yes, and the remote also works as a power bank to the battery.
I forgot about that. Yeah, thanks for mentioning that. Yeah. Also, his second question was, and I know that it's a very specific piece of tech in there, if the time comes that needs to be replaced, is that something that you can do yourself, or is that something that, and I know we're talking years out, I'm sure, like this is not anything that's going to happen tomorrow, but if that thing doesn't take the charge one day, will they be able to get that replaced easily, or is that something maybe that your company will do? Let's talk about that then.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. The watch battery is very easy to replace. So it's a normal LiPo battery, but we add a proprietary connector to that. But we can send. Anyway, it's simple batteries. It's not very complex things. So it's a matter of changing the batteries because the trick itself will work always. So yeah, cool. We do a lot of testings. Really, when we chose to use this kind of hybrid motors, we did a lot of testing. We had dozens of watches doing the same testings, endurance testings, day and night, weekends. That's how we test all of our products. The same happened with Timeless, the elevator,
Yep.
It was like 2 weeks, always up and down, up and down.
That's funny.
Yes, companies must do this, otherwise they don't know if
Yeah.
in a few months the trick will not work. It's IKEA and all of these companies do all of these testings. You cannot just do one and think, oh, it works, let's start selling. It doesn't really work that way.
Yeah, that's true. I could see it now in your I call it a factory. In your factory there, you've got all these Timeless set up, and that's just up and down on them.
Exactly.
That's
Yeah.
great. Oh, that's funny. Robert had a question. He's asked this a couple times. I don't want to have people think they're not being heard. He wants to know, why can you not turn? He actually went in and elaborated a little bit. It says, why can you not turn the crown to let the spectator turn it? Let's talk about that a little bit. When it
Yes.
comes to the crown there, turning that, is that true that they can't turn it? Or is it just that they wouldn't?
I'll be honest.
Okay.
I'll be honest with you. They can. Okay?
was thinking
They can
that, yeah.
turn. They can turn the crown. Some watches will be with the crown glued, but if they force a little bit, it will turn.
Mm-hmm.
Now, what it will not do is do that effect where you take it out
Yep.
and they feel the pin pushing in.
Yeah.
But the magician can do that part. They can pretend, and when the spectator turns, but I will be honest with you, was never our goal, because for the routines that I professionally use, I don't think it's necessary. I understand that some magicians can like that, but in answering, yes, they can. So right now, if your watch does not turn, push it a little bit more, okay, and it will turn, because it's permanently glued. So you need to force a little bit, and then it will turn. Be careful so that it doesn't fall. So you must find a soft spot, and that's it.
Cool. I'm glad I asked that, because I'm sure now that he knows that, because I know if, when you get something expensive, whether it's a piece of magic or whatever, you're kind of afraid to mess with it, but you don't know the tolerance. You don't know if something's supposed to be done. So at least now Robert knows that that's something you could get in there and mess with if you had the need to, and that's cool.
Absolutely.
Rich wanted to know something about, he says he got the watch. First of all, I want to tell you this. He got the watch and he loves it. There you go. He says, I may have missed this, but I'm using the watch in a normal watch mode, and I want to do the trick. I need to pass the magnet close to the watch, ? So let's talk a little specific about that. I know we talked briefly about it, but when it comes to actual changing it, how close does the magnet need to be to actually switch it into the right mode?
It's about 1 centimeter. Yes,
Okay.
the distance. I had several emails of people asking me, how do you make the watch go into a normal working watch?
Right.
And for everyone who bought the watch, tomorrow, there will be a new video in the secret area where I explain that, because some people are with some doubts on that. So actually today I did a video. We are editing as we speak right now. So tomorrow everyone who bought the watch, if they have any doubts, they will see an extra video in the web page.
Very cool. And speaking of that, when people purchase the watch, do they get, excuse me, some type of notification? Is it on the instructional the instructional page? Because we're talking about a Facebook group, which I think is amazing now with Magic, that we can have these private groups for people that are purchase things. How do people get access to that if they don't already know and they own the watch now?
Yes, normally, I think I said in the instructions about my secret group.
Okay.
So people can find to Joao Miranda secret group. And I personally see if everyone is a magician. I really see the images and everything to make sure there is no layman in there. So yes, that's where we share some ideas. People can ask some questions, and normally I show a little bit of the production and some videos, and that's it. Joao Miranda secret group in Facebook.
Cool. Yeah, I love that we can do all this fun stuff now with, the internet, technology. Like, we could do things like this. You're literally on the other side of the world, and here we are, like, literally face to face.
That's right.
Really. There's a camera that's just blocking me and you. It's kind of weird, isn't it?
That's right.
Yeah. I honestly can't pronounce his name, but I think he posted something on the group. We're talking about the group, and he said, "Did you like my book test routine with the watch I posted on your page? Amazing." Yeah, and again, I can't pronounce. I think it's Greek. I think it's a Greek name. So
Yes, 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 yes. Yes, I love the routine. I never thought about it to be able to force a page. So
yeah,
the idea that customer said was very, very cool, and I really loved it. And I saw and I share with my team, and everyone loves it here. So you have a book and you are able to force a page. So people see an hour on the watch, and you hand them the watch, and they do the crown thing, and then you input the time that you want to force. In this case, could be a page. And it's a very cool idea. I never thought about it.
yeah. There you go. And that's again one of the great things about groups. Everyone can get in and share ideas. And also, Mark Call had another nice comment about you here, Joao. He says that you personally reply in the group too, so you're not just ignored. You're not just a customer. You're not just someone that's just bought one of your products. You're involved and part of the group too, which is great. So.
Yes, I want my customers to be really to know that they have all of me and my team support when they buy a product. Because there are other companies that make beautiful videos and the product is not what normally people expect, and they don't answer emails, and that's not how a good business is done.
Sure.
So I really take that very seriously.
Cool. We were just talking about the book test routine. I want to get to one more thing before we start to wrap this up, which is about the routines. There's some really, really, really cool stuff that's taught using the watch in different ways. I got to say, when I first saw the sneak peek of the any car to any number routine that you shared with me, I remember over on the Messenger, man, that's such a great use of this. That is such a great idea. It's also a great way to hide the remote in plain view and kind of have it, so you really didn't have to remember much when it comes to that routine. So let's talk about the routines, because that's obviously my favorite, but you get more than just that. So let's talk about the routines.
You get a lot, yes. That one is with the mnemonic of Juan Tamariz. You also get a small thing that you can cut. It's already made. So if you go to the bottom of the instructions, you print and you stick to the card case. So you have the mnemonic right there. It's a great routine. So you have the deck of cards. Someone names any card, for example, 5 of clubs. And you say, can you take a look at my watch? And there will be 10, 15. Okay, let's add 10 hours plus 15, it's 25. And when they count, is the freely named card exactly in the 25 position. That's the mnemonic one. There is another one which I call time erase, when you rub the hands and the hands of the watch with a dry erase marker. It's an idea so simple, magicians figure out immediately, but normally I do that routine and lay people go crazy with that one. There is another one with objects. So you cover the face of the watch and you place several objects around the watch, and someone's point to the object, and when the spectator removes the card which is covering the face of the watch, the hands are pointing exactly to the object that she picked.
Cool.
I did that so that magicians can see that we must sometimes think a little bit outside the box, even though I personally think that if you come up with a trick that is personal for a spectator, it's better than this kind of routines. But this way we can fit to mentalists, it can fit to card guys, to magicians. So there is a little bit of everything to everyone. That's why I came up in my team with those routines.
No, that's great. And it's nice to know that not only are you just buying, a utility device here, you're getting routines that you can actually put into action.
Absolutely.
And using, it's nice to see as well, guys, when you get the instructional, you'll see each one of these perform for people. So you can see how this works in real time. You can kind of get the vibe, of this and the pacing of it to see how Joao actually does this, and how, sometimes people learn something and they don't really understand the when or the how. And now you actually can see that when you're performing this for real people. So
that's right.
It's nice to have that included when you didn't have to do that. Yeah. So
no, but
yeah.
Always do my best.
Yeah. As we're winding down here, a question about the remote. Can it be replaced if someone loses it? Are you going to, or do you offer replacements for the remotes if someone needs to get another one of those guys?
Yes, never thought about it, but in that case, they need to send the watch back to us, because one remote only works with one watch.
Got it.
So you don't have any enemies in the middle of the audience trying to mess with your trick. So you are rest assured that only one remote only works with one watch. But yes, of course, cool. As I said, if anyone ever have any problem, just reach us, and we'll do our very best to help.
Okay, good to know. All right.
Yeah.
Another nice comment here. Dylan Murray says, "Hi, Ja, how's things? The watch looks incredible. Best of luck with it." So there you go.
Thank you so much.
Dylan Murray popping up there. All right, cool. So I'm going to go with my little checklist here, Zhao, just to make sure I'm not missing anything. We talked about the remote quite a bit, so we got all that out of the way. Talked about the routines. We talked about the battery, which again is USB, and you can recharge that guy, which is great. Talked about that. We talked about the signal. It lets you know when the signal is received. The watch, you get that confirmation, which is great, which is very, very important. I guess my other question is, with the watch, is it a direct line of sight with the remote? I know that you have it in your pants, don't get me wrong, but I've heard some people that received it say that, yes, you can have the watch on someone's hand, but if they cover it, the signal won't reach the watch. Is this true? And I just want to make sure we get all the details here. So.
Yes, it's true. It's true because, as I said, the hands actually block the signal.
Yeah.
But no, as I mentioned, no problem, because if you really want the spectator to hold their hand like this, the only thing that you need to be careful, yes, please tell to the spectator, don't look at the watch. No, please, can you please lift your hand?
Yeah.
You have held the watch since the very beginning. That's it.
Yep.
Then the time goes. So it's not any problem at all.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Just want to make sure we're getting all these deets out of the way. Was there anything else that you want to make sure that people know about? I know we also talked about the hardest parts of this, which is kind of cool to hear.
Yes.
But yeah, any other details about the watch that you want to make sure people know about, or something I may have completely missed when it comes to this brand new release?
No, I think that's pretty much it. I think that the effect is pretty straightforward, and I want customers to know that I could have made the watch cheaper, but the electronics will not be as good as the one that they have now in their hands. So I understand it's not a cheap product, but it's very, very hard. The electronics that are inside the watch are very expensive, honestly, and it's very, very hard to make each watch. And I think that I'm really happy, to be honest with you, because people are really loving the trick, and me and my team are really happy with the feedback from customers. So it's been amazing. Yeah, cool. It makes all worth it, to be honest with you.
Leon's popped up a couple of times. He wants to know if you could do the trick live. Do you have the watch handy to maybe hold it up?
No, this is only the packaging.
Okay,
it's empty. I don't have any, so sorry, but to be honest, it is exactly like the performance videos. Yeah. So exactly the same.
There you go. Yeah. Leon, I tried, Leon. What can I do? Well, I think that's going to wrap us up. Again, guys, don't forget there is a private group that Joao does have for this, and I guess the last question is, and this is a no-brainer, and I'm going to make sure that the person that asked this is the one that gets the love. And that was, here it is, Dwight Baldwin. What's coming down the line for Miranda? Everyone is so timeless, can't wait. So everyone's great, like timeless, basically. I can't wait for the next. So I know you're not going to give me specifics, you never do. But is there more coming down the line from the Joao Miranda team in the future?
Yes, this year we are going to release at least 4 more tricks until the end of the year. One of them will be with Rui Montoro. He has just been in Portugal with me recording the next trick, which is one of the best impromptu tricks magicians will do. In my opinion, I love the effect, and I'm sure magicians will love that too. But I cannot really say much more. Yes, because in the past I used to talk freely about things, and I had some surprises from some companies trying to copy some of my stuff. So now, unfortunately, I don't say absolutely anything. Yeah. That's how it works.
I get it, man. I totally get it.
I wish I could tell more, honestly.
It's all good, man. We tried. Yeah. Is it waterproof? That was the last question that popped up. I didn't even think that's it. Is the watch waterproof?
Yes, I mean, if you don't place it really underwater, but if you are in the rain and you please do not swim with it. Yeah. Because as I said, in order to not block the radio waves, there is a little bit of plastic, a millimeter, and perhaps eventually if you place it underwater, you could ruin the watch, and that's not a good thing.
Okay. No, that's what he wanted to know. Basically, he said, if you were out and it started raining, is it okay? So, yeah. Okay.
Absolutely.
Cool. All right, my friend. Well, that wraps us up. It's so nice to see you again. It's always fun to do this. You continue
Thanks so
to
much.
just wow everybody, the Murphy's team and magicians all over the world. When they hear your name on something, they definitely sit up and pay attention. So it's nice to see you and something new from you and the team, man. So
Yes,
this
thanks
is
a lot, Luke. It's always a pleasure talking with you, and feel free to reach me anytime. It's a pleasure, really.
cool.
And thanks a lot for everyone watching this, of course.
Will you be at Magic Live? That's my last question for you.
No, because no.
All right.
I wish I could, but I will be a father in a month.
Well,
Yes,
congratulations.
of a little girl. So yes, I won't have any more time, and I need to dedicate a little bit of more time to my family. So yes, I wish I could be at Magic Live, but I will be in Vegas because I'm doing something for Copperfield,
That's right.
and we are going to leave something for him in a few months. But regarding Magic Live, unfortunately, no.
Okay. Well, congrats on the new addition to your family, and that is in the most cliche way ever. That's real magic, right?
That's right.
There
That's
you
right.
go.
Absolutely. Yeah.
All right, Joe, I'll let you get out of here, man. I know it's late in Portugal, so thanks for your time and thank you for hanging out with us
Thank
today and
you.
answering some questions. We appreciate it, man.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Thank you, guys. Bye bye.
All
See you soon, Luke.
right.
Thank you.
Sounds good. All right, my friends, there you go. Our chat with Mr. Joao Miranda in Portugal, hanging out with us today, chatting all about his brand new thing, the watch. You can see it right there, rocking that thing on his wrist there. As I showed you the pictures throughout this, there are a few different colors available. This is the little group of these here. You can choose your favorite one and go from there. So awesome, awesome stuff from Joao Miranda and team. As always, he just continues to rock the house. So thank you to you guys as well, and congrats to him having a little girl. That's amazing. That's really cool. I had no idea. So congrats to him, the family. Real magic. All right. And don't forget, guys, we do go live every single Wednesday, noon Pacific, 3 p.m. Eastern Time. So if you want to join us, you can turn on your notifications. If you're watching on your phone, you can actually hit the Get Live notification, turn it on. And next week, I have Minnie Lindenfield talking all about True Extreme, some of those extreme rubber band magic penetrations, whatever you want to call it, just rubber band goodness. Minnie Lindenfield next week. He'll be live with me to talk all about that. So if you're digging this kind of stuff, make sure to drop us a follow or a like on this page, turn on those notifications, and you'll have us pop up the next time we do one of these. All right. So that's it from me. Have a great rest of your day, and we'll catch you next week. If you have any questions in the meantime, you can drop them below this video. We do keep up with the threads, and also you can drop us a direct message if you need to get in touch with us too. Okay? All right, guys, I am out of here. Thanks again to Mr. Joao Miranda, and to you guys for joining us. We'll catch you next time.